So we're gonna pretend that Sophia has a large wound on the dorsal aspect of her cannon bone. She doesn't, obviously, but we're gonna pretend that she does. So in that case, we're gonna put a telfa pad, which we don't wanna touch in the middle of the telfa pad. We wanna just try to stay on the edges so that the part that we apply to the wound is sterile and not contaminated by our fingers. And then we're just gonna use a light roll of white gauze to secure that. No tension is placed on this other than just enough to secure the telfa in place. And you just have to do basically one layer to put that on. And then you're gonna cut that. And then what I do with the little, to keep it from unrolling, is just tuck a little piece of it into the side there, just lightly, so it'll stay in place while I get the rest of my materials. The next layer then is your sheet cotton layer, which is gonna be, that thick padding that's gonna allow you to put tension on the other layers. For a veterinary type bandage, we actually want it to go from the distal carpus all the way to the ground so that we can prevent any materials from coming up underneath the bandage and contaminating our wound. So this is cut a lot longer than what you saw for the stable bandage. Same rules apply. You wrap inside to outside, front to back. So I'm gonna tuck my beginning into the medial aspect and come around the leg with my sheet cotton. Making sure again that I get as much of the wrinkles out as possible because those cause pressure points that can cause damage to the leg. Then I'm gonna use my brown gauze. I'm gonna start with the brown gauze at the top, and I'm gonna put, this will be my tension layer, so I'm gonna put enough tension on this that I know that I'm gonna prevent edema from forming. And I'm gonna make sure that I do even swipes with the brown gauze, make sure that there's no wrinkles that are forming as I put it on, and go down the limb. And I'm gonna wrap down obviously a lot farther than I did for the stable bandage. It will tend to kind of roll up on you as you go down further, so it's kind of annoying. And then I'm gonna come back up all the way up the limb. So generally with brown gauze, you wanna use the entire roll to put this layer on. Ends not very nicely, but it'll usually stick to itself enough to allow you to do the next layer. Now vet wrap is very short compared to the brown gauze. So in most horses, you need to start in the distal third, go down and work your way up. Because it often, if you start at the top and go down and back up, it often isn't long enough. And your goal is to only use one layer. So for the tension on the vet wrap, it's really important to apply the right tension because vet wrap can be very, very constricting if you put too much tension on it. So I don't want it so much tension that I take the dimples out of the vet wrap like that. I want it so that I just take them out about halfway. So that's too much tension if I take all the dimples out, and about halfway right there. So you should see some texture to the vet wrap when you're done. And same rules apply. Make nice, even swipes as you come up. And again, I'm not pulling super tight. You can see there's still some wrinkles. And I'm also kind of pre-unrolling the vet wrap a little bit so that I'm not rolling it on, or I'm not pulling on it. I'm just rolling it on, basically. Vet wrap is nice, it'll just stick to itself. And then you can kind of press it so it bonds to itself. But again, we don't want it to be tight. And then the last step is to put elasticon on. So this one, it's really important that you actually pre-unroll it, because we're just literally gonna lay this on the skin. So I've pre-unrolled it. I'm gonna roll it back up. So I basically just lay about one layer, maybe 2 layers, I guess, around. If I do have to pull more, see how I'm holding it with my hand as I pull, and then I'm just gonna still lay it on. I'm never gonna put tension on while I'm rolling it around. And again, for this, you only use part of a rule, so we can cut the extra with scissors and just lay it on nicely. And then we'll do the same thing on the bottom. So again, pre-unroll it. What's really handy is if you have an assistant that holds it for you, you can actually pre-unroll the whole roll. So again, this is just to keep bedding, shavings from coming up under your wrap and getting into your wound. And again, I'm putting it on very lightly, just enough that I can cover the bandage and cover the end of the bandage and basically tape it to the hoof. And that is the veterinary type bandage.